Hello, everybody. This is Jimmy Cuellar, director of Mariachi Garibaldi de Jaime Cuellar, and you're watching the Break It Down Show.
Yeah, man, this is going to be fun. So first off, I love mariachi music. I didn't know that growing up, but it's just always around. And then as I've gotten older, I've developed a real appreciation for it. My sister-in-law is from her family, all of it. They're from Veracruz,
Oh, nice.
and so I get a lot of that traditional Mexican culture. Like when we have Mexican food at the house, they just call it food, and it's not burritos. Like it's neat to be able to have this opportunity to talk to you. And I guess for the audience, in case you guys don't know, Jimmy runs a mariachi band, and they I don't know if it's official for this year or not, but they have what we call a residency at Dodger Stadium, and they play several times throughout the game. And I saw them, and it was just incredible. Like what you guys do is it blows me away. I mean, the entire crowd is there, right? And everybody, 50,000 people. And I was talking to DJ Severe, and he sent me some notes. And I said, does anybody lift the game up like you guys do? And he's like, no. And he's like, it's not just the game. He said, because about 75% of the people in that audience have Latin roots. And you guys start singing, it's heritage, it's love, it's baseball. And it just blows me away. I had to bring you on to talk to you about this magic thing that you guys have made.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's been a blast. I mean, when the Dodgers called me and they've hired us to play in the center field pavilion before, but when they said, hey, we're thinking of having you during the game, I'm like, well, okay, what does that mean? Like, we don't know yet, but we're thinking during the game. So I threw some ideas while in between innings or during batting, they'd be turning pitching. I don't know. And it turned into we're gonna have you guys at these times, first, third, fifth, seventh, and so on. And they're like, just whatever you do, just really like shine. All right, that's fine. So the first game, I mean, the people that sat around us, I guess they noticed we were there, but they didn't really know what we were doing there. Once we started playing, people just jumped up in the in the left field pavilion, and we're like, "Oh my God, there's a mariachi here!" And just doing gritos, singing along. And then you kind of start looking around the rest of the stadium, and like, "Oh wow, there's 50,000 people or more right now, and they're going crazy." So once it finished, you can feel the energy, and it's been great. It looks like this season we will be back for Taco Tuesdays. We've done already the Fan Fest for Dodgers, which was in the beginning of the month, and we actually went with them to do a high school pep rally at Whittier High School. So they had us walk in first, and all the high school kids went crazy, and they had a lot of the players show up, and it's been fun, man. Dodgers, they know what they're doing. They know how to do it.
They do that entire endeavor is such a when you see the command center, people who are at a game don't realize there's a lot of moving parts. Dieter Rule's got to get his spots in. Todd's got hello everybody. Welcome. He's got, and it's all like planned out. DJ Severe is there. So there's a lot going on, and then you guys get your cue. And you got 90 seconds, and then the direction is make sure you shine.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. So okay, let me ask you this: what's shining?
Well, I see it when they told me make sure you shine, as in really make sure you grab all these fans' attention. Make them know you're here and help them just enjoy the moment. So, and thinking that I'm like, okay, guys, what are we gonna what are we gonna shine with? Like, obviously, we have to get the songs that we know that no matter what happens, you hear those first couple notes and people go crazy, right? So we play stuff like Son de la Negra, Volver, El Rey, La Ley del Monte. There's a handful of other ones that with the first five notes already people are just doing gritos and screaming and just enjoying and ready for more. I mean, there are times that we do get 90 seconds and we finish, and the people that are around us really close are like, hey, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. I go, no, we can't play past the game.
Yeah. But that's the thing, though. It's like this magic thing happens, and I mean, you guys, if you don't know, and if you don't like the Dodgers, maybe you don't get this, but it's a beautiful stadium, and these guys are sitting on the pavilion, and in the background you see the sunset come down, and the setting is gorgeous, and it's as if we're actually at Plaza de Garibaldi, in the traditional times where like a lot of this music was born and became something. And is that the roots of your guys' name?
Yeah, basically that, Plaza Garibaldi in Mexico City, where all the mariachis hang out, was kind of the name of our gentleman who was teaching us at the time, because Mariachi Garibaldi started off as a youth group. He had gave us the idea like, well, there's not a lot of mariachis named Garibaldi, and it's the plaza and it's the mecca of mariachi. So we kind of incorporated that as our name, and it stuck with it for what are we on? 28 years now.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Is that a long time in mariachi?
I think so. I mean, there's a couple groups, bigger groups, right? There's
Yeah.
Mariachi Los Camperos. I think they're hitting 60 now. Mariachi Vargas is hitting 112, 15 maybe.
Yeah, wow.
Sol de Mexico, I think they're hitting close to 50 also, I think. So, Mariachi Cobre is maybe about 40. And other groups are, have either come and gone or gotten close to those numbers.
That's incredible when you think about you guys are sort of a new group and you've been around for a quarter century, and you're in a place where, is there anything more major league, not baseball side, but just like mariachi major league? Is there anything bigger than LA?
I mean, for me, I think the LA is the biggest market, but a market like I've heard that like Chicago has a lot of mariachi movement, Atlanta has a lot of mariachi movement, but I feel that Los Angeles is home to 2 or 3 of the major mariachis that are always touring or have big names, and I feel we're scratching at the door behind them to get ourselves up there. And there's one other big group in Florida that plays at Disney World, Mariachi Cobre.
Yeah. The scratching the door thing is interesting because, and again, like I've been into the mariachi history thing, preparing for you, and like any music form, it's hard to make money, and a lot of times, and you had the same story that I watched a couple of documentaries, and it was like, hey, the group got too big for the town because they couldn't make any money there, and they had to go to Mexico City or wherever it was to go make money. And you basically said the same thing. You're like, I love Bakersfield, however, I can't just be playing, the burrito joint all the time.
Yeah. I mean, no disrespect to my hometown, Bakersfield, California.
Right.
But it's a different market. It's a lot smaller, and so there is kind of, you do like a Saturday gig, and that's about it. But here in Los Angeles, it's a huge city.
Yeah.
You can get anything throughout the whole week. Obviously, unfortunately, right with the pandemic, a lot of funerals have been going on. But still, the market is huge. Where during the week you can either find a little restaurant to play at, or someone's having a birthday party, somebody wants a serenata, somebody wants there's always something. So you can we can keep ourselves busier.
Back to Dodger Stadium, when they say shine, and you guys know that these first 5 notes, that doesn't limit. I mean, there's a bazillion songs in mariachi that you can do, but is there anything you stay away from?
I guess more romantic songs. That really calm, because the whole thing is, even with DJ Severe, some of the songs he puts, there's high energy, right? Because you're in a game, you want to make sure everybody's like enticed and just ready to go, and keeping that energy up, especially because you want the Dodgers to do very well. And when the energy's up, they play. Not that they play bad, but it's like with us performing. When the audience starts doing gritos and screaming and clapping along or singing along, it's just giving us more energy to feed back to them. So
when I was talking to him today, I'm going to read from his text here. He was saying, hang on, hold on a second.
Yeah, no problem.
My phone jumped the gun on me here. Okay. He said, let them know I try to stay with the theme of their theme and play tracks that complement their performance. And I wonder if they enjoy my tracks. And he also he's like, and I just want to stay away from getting too high before you guys. So he's trying to build you a ramp and then take what you guys do. Do you have a sense of that at all?
I mean, I have noticed sometimes he's kept himself, because I go to games all the time too, and I'm like, well, how come he doesn't play that with us? But I guess it makes sense that he's taking it all that in consideration. But I mean, in my eyes, I'd be like, hey man, you got something more energy than we just did. Do it, because we're there as you can say, we're there as a family, like we're there as a unit to ensure that the crowd and all the fans are having a great time enjoying the Dodgers.
Yeah. What song, no matter what, hits at Dodger Stadium?
Oh man, that's just it, man. There's actually a handful, like La Negra. I mean, let me play a little piece of La Negra for you.
Yeah, okay.
This is what we usually start all the time, very first song. I just knocked this out of tune. Just with the first couple notes, people just go crazy already. That one right there, you see right off the bat, people just start going crazy. Or you see them what's even better and way more entertaining for us to see, and we enjoy, is those that stand up and in their seats start to dance, and the women pretend like they have the big skirts and they're just wearing their jerseys,
Yeah.
But that's one song that once we start that, the first it's tan ta people just already go crazy and do gritos or start to dance.
Yeah. I don't know how often you play a serenato, but I was looking around and there's dudes dropping to their knees singing, and I'm like, oh my God, you just got whatever 20,000 dudes to jump on their knees and sing their hearts out and they're singing. You hear it. You got a choir.
Oh yeah.
It's incredible.
Talk about that. I mean, that's just it. I don't know. That's what mariachi is. To me, mariachi is really the we're performing the music, but we enjoy when the audience is participating. Whether it's they're doing the grito or they're singing along, or even if there's times that I'm singing, I just kind of point the microphone to them and let the audience sing. And it just loves it. And it's that energy that I feel that as a mariachi performer, when I feel the audience giving me that kind of energy, I return it back and try to go a step higher just to kind of keep it going.
What does that look like, though? I mean, how do you go higher than that? I mean, so one thing, I love horns, and when they pop, and they just come blasting out, you're forced to reckon with that. And that I gotta shout out that incredible sound system at Dodger Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
It is state of the art. And like I was watching a little piece the LA Times did on you guys, and when you guys are sitting there, and it's like you're in the background, and it's just present all the time. But it takes and it gives a great representation of what you guys sound like.
Yeah, I mean, the first time we played for the game, they had us in the pavilion. I'm like, I think we might need some monitors. I don't know, no, we'll be fine. So we started playing, and there's a slight delay by the time we heard it. I'm like, oh man, no, we need to get us a couple speakers here. So they added some monitors. We use the in-ears, so they don't have to keep it cleaner there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that helped a lot because it's such a huge stadium.
Yeah.
So obviously, right, where the speakers are, by the time they shoot out, sound travels. We're playing, and then we hear ourselves 0.2 seconds later. What was that?
Yeah.
But when we got the in-ears, we hear ourselves all together, but at the same time, then we can see and you can hear the crowd just, go into it. Obviously, I haven't been able to experience myself performing and sitting somewhere else in the stadium, but we find the videos. Friends of mine that end up at the night, oh, you were there tonight? That's something else that's really interesting to me since we started performing at the Dodger Stadium. To me, I think everybody can see us, but you can sit in areas in the stadium and not even see where the mariachi's at.
Yeah.
They see on the Jumbotron, and people are like, where are you standing? I'm like, really? You can't tell?
Yeah.
And so I've walked around the stadium, like, wow, you really can't tell. Like, you realize how massive, what a monster stage Dodger Stadium is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
Especially for an 8-piece mariachi band.
The stage is enormous. And I want to pull a picture up here in a second. I just got to get it set up. But that the 50,000 people, when you get in front of a crowd like that, that's the only time you guys get to do that. I mean, I don't know that there's got to be a festival somewhere, but 55,000 people only directed at you, whether they're on a screen or whatever. I don't know how many places in the world where that happens.
Yeah, I mean, in Mariachi Garibaldi, and we've toured a lot during the year, and we have this towards the end of the year. We have this Noche Buena Christmas tour that we jointly with my wife's Ballet Folclórico, we tour together. So the show is just us, Mariachi Garibaldi, the Jaime Cuellar, and Ballet Folclórico de Los Angeles, and it's a Christmas show. We have four other shows that we do also throughout the year. But I mean, I think the biggest venue we've sold out ourselves is 3,000, maybe 4,000. And we're like, wow, that's great. But then I told them when we first did the Dodgers, like, well, guys, just remember how we felt when we had that one venue that we sold out 4,000 seats. Yeah. Just us. But now come to Dodger Stadium. Yes, people are here to see the Dodgers. But when we perform, they're paying attention to us. And that's 57,000 people.
Yeah. I'm showing the picture now.
Oh, yeah.
And you got the sombrero up in the air, and it's packed house.
Packed house.
You guys have played the playoffs, right?
Yes.
And there's already energy in the playoffs. And so when you get into that spot, I mean, you got to lead your band, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to tell them, like, this is what we're doing, this is why we're here. But they know, but they don't know until I don't know. Well, what's that dynamic?
Well, some of the guys are huge Dodger fans. So when I told them, hey guys, we're going to play, they're like, the first thing they heard is, so I get to watch the game, perform, and be there. I'm like, yeah, they were super excited because, well, not to bring up, bad memories, but we were on the path of the World Series and we were
Yeah.
just so excited for that. But, whatever happened, happened.
Yeah.
But that's also been a big help. All the guys, the majority of the guys are huge Dodger fans
Mm.
and love the fact that we have this Taco Tuesday performance, and they get a free game. I mean, a lot of times we're when we're waiting, we're out watching the game, but there's a lot of people that come up that want pictures, just to talk to us, and that's great too. I mean, we feel like huge stars, like Dodger players.
Yeah. What do the players think? Like, I mean, obviously, let's tell the Joe Kelly story here in a sec. But what are the players in general? What's their response to you guys? How interactive are they?
Yeah, well, that's just it. When we get there, obviously we haven't really had a lot of time to interact with them. The Joe Kelly is probably the only one that we've interacted with. Jensen was another one we got to interact with a little bit. But from what stories we've heard through like the Dodger staff, they say that they really enjoy when we're there. When they're taking the field again and between innings, they just say they really enjoy it. Like, it kind of gets them pumped up. And aside from hearing us play, but they really enjoy how the crowd reacts to us. So hearing that, I'm like, oh, that's great. We're doing it. We're doing a good job.
Tell us the Joe Kelly story.
So I wish I had the exact date, but the Dodgers hired us to go play in the center field pavilion and to perform the national anthem before the game. And so as we're waiting, we were in our little waiting area, and one of the guys runs up to me and says, "Hey, Jensen wants us to go on the field and play something." I'm like, "Okay, well, let's go." So I grab my violin. We're walking to the field, and security's like, "Hey, you guys can't come out here. You're not allowed on the field." And we stop pointing to Jensen. He's like, "No, no, no, no. Come on." I'm like, "Oh, whatever big man wants, he gets." So we walk on, and he's like, "Hey, play us a song over here as we're warming up." So we start playing a song, and as we're walking past Joe Kelly, he's warming up, and he's just like, "Hey, anybody want to trade a jacket for a jersey?" And we're like, "Are you talking to us?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think I like your guys' jacket." We had this blue jacket, pinstripe, with some adornments on it. And he's like, "I think it's pretty cool. I'd like to trade you guys a jacket for a jersey." And so we finished the song, and we're kind of sitting there talking to him, like still in awe that he's talking to us about wanting the jacket. And the staff is like, "You guys got to go. We have to play now. You have to start in like 10 minutes." So Grover, our trumpet player, says, "You know what? I can't give it to you now because we have to play the national anthem, but I do want to trade you." And he was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." So we went, did a performance. Grover tells me, "I'm coming back tomorrow to the game. I'm going to trade him." I'm like, "It's your jacket. Just make sure you order and get yourself a new one." He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
So he goes to the game and he flags down Joe Kelly and says, "I'm here. I got the jacket. Are we going to trade?" So Joe Kelly you seen the video. He goes back he comes back out with a jersey, and they swap right then and there. And so I didn't know that they were going to go to the White House a few days later. And the morning of that, the Dodgers were at the White House. I remember I was asleep. I get a message to our Facebook page, and it was Joe Kelly's wife. And it said, "You're not going to believe what Joe's wearing today." And I was half asleep. It was, mind you, it's what, 4 o'clock in the morning here for us in California. And so then she sends a picture of Joe taking a selfie in front of a mirror, wearing the jacket. Then we find out, right, it was Mookie Betts' pants and the shirt, right? It wasn't even his own clothes. She sends me that picture. I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." I went back to sleep. When I get up, turn on the news, and it's all over the news. And that same picture is all over the news. I mean, I froze. I couldn't believe it. And I messaged the guys, "Have you guys seen?" And Grover's going crazy. He's like, "That's my jacket. Oh my God, I can't believe it." After that, phone calls, emails,
Yeah.
we just interviews. I mean, I think the craziest interview we did was for a TV news station in Miami. So we were here at the Academy where we are right now at 3 o'clock in the morning, filming for them at 7 a.m. over there. Oh yeah, it was interesting. I mean, it's been great. Unfortunately, they traded him and it kind of died out. But a lot of people called. "Are you the group that traded the jacket with Joe Kelly?" "Yes, come play for us."
Yeah.
So that was a great time.
I love that story, and it's just so it's so like a part of like what LA is, what Southern California is. It's America, but it's also this Latin element. It's just there, and it's so normal for Joe to be like, "Yeah, man, I love a charro jacket or whatever, and just throw it on, and sure, I'm gonna wear it." It's so normal, and it's cool about that. And it seems like even though mariachi is fully established as a genre, like it's just becoming more and more present. At least from my point of view, like there's more places you can play, and more cities like, "Hey, why don't you come play our park?" or whatever it is. That just seems like there's more of it now. Is that what you also feel as a business owner?
I mean, I feel since my wife and I, that we have been pushing these shows, we have been getting to places that I guess we never thought we'd get into before. But it's the I feel it's the culture. It's a beautiful culture. It's a great genre. It's a great music, and so who doesn't want to have or listen to some mariachi? And then I think with right now with my wife and I, how we are combining the ballet folklorico with the mariachi, you get best of both worlds.
Yeah.
So those who like to watch the dance and see the beautiful dresses and see all that are going to get that in our shows. So those who just like just the mariachi and the music, they'll get that. And so then they offset like, oh, well, those that just like the music say, hey, that dance was really good. Those who like the dance, hey, the music was great. So best of both worlds, and our shows are way more family friendly, because of that. So a lot of kids that come to our shows, they love to watch the dance, and the parents love the music. And so we've noticed lately where our shows have been getting picked up and going into areas that is it the culture? Is it that is getting popular, or is just becoming a norm? And that's great. I mean, I'm not going to complain anything about that, right? I want to be in every venue in every city every day of the week. Well, we're not at Taco Tuesday, but it is picking up. I do notice in picking up in a sense as in concert wise or venues like Dodger Stadium,
Right.
Or other venues where tourists go to just have a good time. House parties, quinceañeras, weddings. That's always going to be a norm that people want to have a mariachi for the wedding. They want to have a mariachi for a serenata. They want to have a mariachi for graduation. Who doesn't want to have some live music, right? And lively music. But I'm more on the terms of these outdoor venues or concert halls that are allowing or wanting to hire more mariachi or Latino performances.
You and I were talking off mic, and I love to talk about this, the pocket. And what is the pocket in mariachi music? Because I'm learning what it is in funk. It's been described by Mike. Because they never say, oh, that drummer has got a crap pocket. They always say he's got a deep ass pocket, right? And I'm like, okay, but what's a bad pocket? Is it just so? What's the pocket in mariachi?
Well, you said that earlier, and I started thinking, okay, pocket. Well, what is exactly? And hearing what you just said right now about funk and whatnot, it's tough to say. But the pocket for mariachi has a few things. One is that the feeling. Like you got to feel the song. You know what I mean? Like if you're singing the song, you better know what the song's talking about.
Yeah.
And if you've lived it, let it shine.
Yeah.
That pocket, for someone to sit in the back of a room, you sing a song and it just touches that nerve, and that person being like, oof. Yeah. Oof. I felt that. That's the pocket for mariachi. And for trumpet players, that's the hardest thing in trumpet players also, to have that pocket to feel, that just give that you hear the first couple trumpet notes and like, oh, yeah, that's another pocket, and a lot of it does line up obviously with the singing, because of the mariachi is very lyric based. But there's throughout the whole band, there's a few pockets, like the guitars and the bass, like they need to fall into that pocket. The violins need to fall into that pocket. Trumpet have to fall in their pocket, the singer, and then as everybody has their own pocket, then they need to fall into one huge pocket at the same time. But a lot of it is, I think it's that just being able to connect to the song and express it. And so that even if someone doesn't understand the language, I can feel what you're expressing, or I can understand what the song's about, even though I have no idea what you're saying, which happened a couple of times. This last year, we did a concert in Escondido. And this gentleman came, the older gentleman, he came and he's like, I have no idea what you guys are saying. He said, but I got to say the song you sang, and he like sang the melody a little bit, and the song he sang, he's like, oh my God, just touch me. And he goes, can you tell me what the song? I'm like, well, that song is about this heartbreak, blah, 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 and that song's about this. And he's like, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. You guys expressed it very well. I'm like, oh, great. In the pocket, right?
Yeah,
there.
That's the pocket. When you talk about the pocket and the songs that you guys sing, mariachi seems to have a penchant for like heartbreak songs. I mean, I know there's serenados and all that, but it seems like, to me as an outsider, that's the sweet spot for you guys.
Yeah.
It's like the longing.
I mean, mariachi is Mexican country music. You know what I mean? Country music, you can nitpick some songs, and the guy singing about his truck broke down, whatever, my girlfriend left with this. It's the same thing. I mean, folk music and a lot of mariachi songs are just about heartbreak, their life stories. Who hasn't lost love? Who hasn't gained love? Who hasn't been in limbo with love? Like, what is it? And those are just the songs that everybody just really connects to. And of course, then there's the songs that are just happy stories, or just random stories like I just like that song. It's a good song.
Yeah.
The melody's nice, but it has a catchy tune.
Do you guys ever take and cover something that could be a mariachi song, but it's a rock song or a blues song or whatever? Do you ever think about that kind of thing?
Well, actually, the album we released during the pandemic in 2020,
Mhm.
we did I called it El Tren Loco.
Mhm.
So there's in mariachi there's a song called El Tren, where it's just oigan señores el tren, right? And it's just a story about a train that's going
Yeah.
through town to town and takes a woman and her friend, blah, blah, blah. So I fused it with Crazy Train.
Oh,
And so this whole year, the guys are like, we need to play Crazy Train at Dodger Stadium.
yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And we never did it. But this year,
It's gonna happen.
it's gonna happen this year. Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
so I mean that's been the biggest one. And the guys are like, we gotta bring that back. Just play it at random weddings, who cares? And
Yeah.
and it's we have it on Spotify. It's our 25th anniversary album, and I think it's called El Tren Loco. So it starts out with the traditional train song and then just kind of morphs into Crazy Train and just goes from there.
Oh, that's so great.
And it came out really good. Like it worked. It's nice.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you guys write a lot of your own songs, but you also have to play traditionals. I mean, how many songs do you guys have at your command? I mean, that's got to be.
Yeah. That's just it, being a real mariachi. I mean, there's songs up here that I couldn't tell you I know, but then we start playing like, oh, I know this song,
Mhm.
or there's even songs that I know, but there's just some words I can't get. You have to just do a quick Google search and like, oh, that's what it is. So for me to sit down and tell you I know exactly 220,
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff up there,
Yeah.
And usually we have a group of 8 guys.
Yeah.
Hey, who knows this song? Like, I think I know it, and we'll make it happen. And that's just kind of like the norm of mariachi, where you may not know it, but if you have an idea, figure it out.
And then is everybody else just able to follow along as you guys are? Okay.
I mean, we'll do that like at private parties,
Yeah.
just kind of like the clients like, I really want to hear the song. Well, we don't really play it. I mean, I would not do that at Dodger Stadium. Like, we
Right.
can get,
Yeah. That's different.
Yeah.
That's different.
But in a small intimate thing, like, hey, can you guys? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
we'll give it a try. We'll make it happen.
When I hear mariachi music, I don't ever hear mistakes. Like you see live music, like you might hear, their finger got on the string a little too much on the guitar. I can hear mistakes. I know you guys make mistakes, but maybe the music is just loose and you guys just is it more jazz like? How come I can't hear these mistakes?
If you say you can't hear them, first of all, awesome. For us. But it could also be, the whole talk about the pocket.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm a firm believer, even with the guys in the group and my students that I have here, like, if you make a mistake and you go,
yeah,
then you trigger and they just messed up.
Yeah.
But if you own the mistake, I prefer you to own the mistake.
Yeah.
And play confident or seem confident than to be very perfect and be kind of like shy, reserved about it. So it could be that, just the experience of like, hey man, the show must go on.
Yeah.
I messed up a word. I messed up the note. I didn't hit it, but I'm singing my heart out. So,
right.
Take me in.
So when you guys are singing, there's fantastic harmonies. How much of your work is focused on, let's get these harmonies tight? And then do you go, gosh, I just can't sing that song because, some songs don't fit certain singers, right? Even if it's just your feeling, like your voice might be able to do it, but you've got to figure that out. And so do you just hand that off to somebody else, or how do you figure those things out?
Yeah. When it comes to, for instance, recording albums and whatnot, everybody has their own tone of voice and their own kind of style that fits them. Obviously, when it push comes to shove, we're at a backyard gig and I sing 20 songs, like, can you just sing the song? It doesn't matter. Get it done. But when it comes to selecting who needs to sing what song fits who, because again, going back to the pocket, just because this guy likes to sing this romantic song, but he's never been in love or had heartbreak, I'm sorry, you can't connect. You're not connecting as you should. Where this guy maybe doesn't sing it as good, but you can feel his connection. He's in that pocket.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
And
then you're in Southern California when you have all that uniform stuff on. So let me just back up and say this. I used to be a Captain Morgan model, right? And so I get having to perform with a lot of clothes on.
Giddy up on?
And it's just like, I would be so hot and so sweaty when I got done. I was so tired. So I'm asking you, I guess, how is it when you have the charo on and you're out there and you got a hat that looks like it weighs 5 pounds and it looks like it cannot be cool in there? Is that just part of the professional thing, or do you because you play for 4 hours out in the sun like that? Goodness, man! At some point, it does start to reach the limit of performance capability and everything else. It's 105 outside,
Mhm.
you know.
But are you talking specifically like at Dodger Stadium or just in general?
No, just in general.
Just in general.
yeah.
Well, for instance, you're 105, but this
Yeah.
past weekend, we did a backyard gig and it's cold. And
Yeah.
that takes a toll too,
That's true.
And so it's just you roll with the punches. I mean, obviously the tough part is like when the instrument doesn't want to stay in tune because the
Yeah.
weather is like so shot,
Yeah.
right? But you just again fall in that pocket and just perform your heart out, and you go. Now with the charro, in the summer, sometimes it is kind of like, man, but like I tell the guys, like, that's your job.
Yeah.
Right? This is your uniform. This is what you have to wear. Like you don't see Dodgers come like it's hot today. Everybody wear shorts. Like no, they wear a baseball uniform, and it's been that baseball uniform for years.
Yeah.
Like, so it's same thing for us. We're not gonna re-innovate or reinvent the charro suit.
Yeah.
We're gonna follow the tradition. Those who can maybe reinvent or try to change tradition, let them do it first, I guess.
Mhm.
But this is what I respect.
Yeah.
This is my father's and my parents' heritage, and that I've grown up in, and we're gonna respect the suit to the T. The moño, the button all the way to the top, the vest, the jacket,
Yeah.
the pants, the closed tight pants, the boots, and then occasionally the sombrero. We don't wear the sombrero all the time,
Yeah.
right? Because one, it takes up more space in the car when we have to travel around. Two, I'm always afraid to take him to house parties because when you set him down, we already had it once. Some little kid with this Hawaiian punch, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Do the sombreros ever disappear? Do they ever walk away?
I think yeah.
Yeah.
It happens, where you just set it down and then
where did it go?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And those things can't be cheap. That's got to be some serious money for those
the issue is you really can't find them here in the States. I mean, there's a couple places here in the States you get, but we order a lot from from Mexico. And by the time it gets over here, and by the time or I just fly out to pick something up and come back.
Right. I wanted to ask about the rhythm because the rhythm section is well, it seems if you have a harp, I guess that would also be part of the rhythm section.
Mhm.
But you have the bass guitars that do their job. And so are you guys counting to 4? Is it a different system? Is it more of a clave? How do you guys know that time signature?
Oh, well, I mean, going into each song has their own time. And so
Mhm.
when we, count in, it's just like a free bar to whatever the downbeat is, So, I mean, the song I played earlier, La Negra, that's just we call it al bajón, like,
Mhm.
because it's kind of free. The first 2 bars,
Yeah.
ta-da, and then we kind of chug around to tempo. Other ones, I mean, if the song's in 4, sometimes I just give them a 3, 4 start, or depending what what,
And
what the song
who's
is.
doing that?
Usually me.
Okay.
If I'm not present, then one of the other guys kind of okay.
Right.
Today you're in charge, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, for the most part, it's always me, kind of.
Because you're doing most of the singing, so that means that you can't be early, you can't be late. You're right on time because you're the guy that sets the tone,
Mhm.
and then maybe you find the rhythm within the song itself. Or I guess talk about that. Like, I mean, if the song is a horn song to start out, then how do you signal? How do you?
Well, I mean, a lot of times, whether I'm singing or one of the other gentlemen are singing, the formula is there's an intro, a musical intro, and then the vocal starts. Then there's like a musical interlude, and then vocal, and then so we usually all start playing in the beginning. So we can count off. Or I mean, obviously I don't do this. I use my foot, because I can have my hands free to go for violin. And everybody knows the count in, and then we just go.
Yeah.
And it gets started, and with whatever has to happen happens, and then it ends. So it's kind of it's just getting started. Once it started, it's very mechanical. Right.
Mhm.
There are some songs where the singer can decide to hold a note way longer or change the phrasing.
Mhm.
And so that's where us as the band have to kind of make sure we're paying attention, because you can't just like, well, okay, I rest for 4 bars and then I play. If the singer decided to change the phrasing or said something like a joke or just kind of get the crowd going, you can't keep on the 4 bars. You need to know on what word the vocal says, the singer says something where you have to play your note. So you have to also know the song. You can't lock yourself in a sheet music and just be like, okay, count my bars. There we go. And now, because if they went off or forgot a word and turned like, hey, what's the next word? And then gets off like, you just know, I play this note when he says blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And then I don't ever see any music in front of you guys. You guys are all.
Yeah, it's always it's always for memory. I mean, when we rehearse, we have a lot of sheet music and whatnot, and sometimes we've packed up some big artists that throw a lot of songs at us last minute, and it's like, wait, take your stands, iPads and all, whatever you need. So all the guys in the group, they all read music, and even I've had members that come that don't really read music, but I train them too, because
Mhm.
it's so helpful for them. It's so, to be a musician, like just to have an idea of being able to see it on paper
Yeah.
helps so much, because what's my first note? It's right there,
Right there. Yeah. Okay. And then, and I don't want to get into too much into your business, but if there's 12 people in your band, how in the hell do you guys make enough money? I mean, how many nights a week do you have to play? Are you doing back to back gigs at night? Are you doing all night serenades? I mean, how do you guys survive? Because there's 12 of you, you know?
Yeah. So I mean, I think right now I have 13 members.
Yeah.
Now when it comes to gig life, sometimes I'll split the group in two and
Uh-huh.
send, half there, half here. There are some people in the group that say, hey, I'll just come around when you have like a big show like Dodger Stadium. The Harvest
Mhm.
one usually comes to Dodger Stadium, excuse me, or concerts. So that helps. They're doing their own thing. They'll come to rehearsal, and then when I need them, I can call them on the dime. There's a few that, okay, no matter what happens, you're here, and I'm gonna make sure we get you enough,
Yeah.
busy work. But at the same time, if there's nothing or whatever, the guys will call and say, hey, I got called for this freelance man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you're not held on to a contract to be here 24/7. I go, of course, that'd be the ultimate goal. I wish I could be like, here's a salary,
Yeah.
sign this. You can play with nobody but
Yeah.
Mariachi Garibaldi, right?
Yeah.
But soon, I'm working on a couple plans for
Yeah.
that.
But I mean, again, this is why like LA matters. There are multicultural weddings happening all throughout the year, and these people are loaded. And I don't know if you heard of the band the Ellies, but it's a band I know of,
Mhm.
and they sing for Armenian, like all the different groups, and they have a little wedding package. And I promise they are not cheap. It's their full time job is to go out, and they're out there, just dancing and singing and partying and having a great time. That's completely buildable here in Southern
Yeah,
California.
it is. But I feel for mariachi, it's going to take a little longer because like that band, and I've seen
Mhm.
other bands where they get picked up and they're there the whole time, right?
Yeah.
And they'll do like ceremonies and they'll do whatever wedding dances they need to do. The issue with mariachi is that a lot of the big weddings, because we have played for some huge Armenian weddings
Yeah.
that have married into Mexicans, and I mean those weddings are
Crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
If with I'm trying to find a better word. But it's very common that the mariachi is going during when people are eating cocktail
Right.
hour into dinner hour.
Yeah.
So it hasn't really been into where it's like, okay, you guys are gonna stay here the whole time, kind of thing. It would be great to think, we got a wedding and make a living on like from
Yeah.
this one wedding, you got your week paid,
Right.
because you're there for 5, 6, 7 hours.
Yeah.
But the genre is it's different. It probably became. I mean, there has been backyard parties where they're for 6, 7, 8 hours.
Right.
And even then that's tough too. But it's just that I think mariachi has gotten to this point where everybody wants it at a certain time,
Mhm.
which is fine because we always know there's work around this time, and then you have free time to go and out to after parties. But the weddings want at this point in time, and
Mhm.
it is what it is. And yeah, so
It seems like mariachi from its roots, and again, correct me when I'm wrong here,
mhm.
playing in Plaza Garibaldi, uh, there it is sort of a background kind of music where it's not always front and center. Dodger Stadium, for sure, you guys are front and center, but is that a fair characterization? Are you guys there to fill a space and fill a plaza with music?
I think it varies from person to person. I mean,
Mhm.
we played weddings where they're like, we want you just as background, and we'll be background. And we
Yeah.
played weddings like, no, entertain my guests.
Mhm.
Take center stage. And done that. And then some that are like, can you guys just go, like walk the room and fill it? Okay, so that is something amazing with mariachi that I feel that most other genres probably can't do.
Yeah.
Tip of switch. Like today, can you be background?
Yeah.
Today, can you give me a concert here at my wedding?
Yeah.
Can you engage? Can you be engaging? So and us and well myself, I'm like, I'll part myself. Yeah, of course. Today we can be that band. Will just go sit in the corner.
Yeah.
We'll play some nice little kind of elevator music, mariachi style, and entertain your guests. And if someone wants to hear something, they can come and ask us for something. Or I'll stand right in front of the wedding party, and we'll perform for them and your guests, and turn it into like a mini concert,
Yeah.
and keep everybody engaged instead of just taking requests. So yeah, we do both.
When you get that request or you get to play the song, what are your favorites? Like, what do you like? Oh, I cannot wait to play, and then fill in the blank.
There's too many.
I know it's like
There's
people
too
ask me
many.
my favorite
Yeah.
episode. I'm like, I don't know the next one.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
yeah.
But I also get the same question, like, what is one song you don't like playing? I'm like, that's also, it's not that it's
Yeah.
a big list. I go, it's not that I don't like playing it. It's just, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's just, there's some songs like, well, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not something I'll put on my radio, but
Yeah.
I'm not saying, oh, here comes this song again,
Right.
And as for favorites, there's just too many. Because it's also, I feel I'm very in the mood I'm in, there's, well, I'm not like a super excited mood. May want to hear, around these kind of songs, or
Yeah.
I'm kind of like just melancholy. I want to hear. So that for me to just think this is my anthem, my song. I'm sorry, I don't.
And
I
how
can't pick
often
one.
do you play other kinds of music, and what do you listen to when you're not listening to Mariachi?
Oh man, if you look up to my Spotify, you're
Yeah.
gonna see Pearl Jam. You're gonna see
Everything.
Tupac. You'll see Beethoven.
Yeah.
I love everything. I mean, I grew up on classical music and mariachi, and then as I got older, I had a cousin that was very, very into Journey. And I got it. That he introduced me to Journey, and then I
Yeah.
had other cousins that were into hardcore rap.
Right.
I got into hardcore rap, and then just from there, kind of got my own stuff, and other friends that were into pop
Yeah.
and everything. So I listen to it all, and also like when I arrange or write music for us, I feel that I take a little bit from everything to kind of get that, because I mean, music's great. Music's music, and no matter what genre you listen to.
As traditional as mariachi is, it does seem that you guys have the ability to integrate new things within the music. Yes, you're wearing the charro and everything else, but when the music goes further south into like Brazil, those rhythms, those feelings, those are in the music now. And then one of my favorite cover bands of all time is Metalachi.
Oh,
God, there's. I mean, it's a gimmick, but it's such a good one. Like when
Yeah.
they play "Hot for Teacher," I cannot get enough of that song. I love it.
yeah. I actually seen them once in Vegas years ago, and I remember just standing there like, this is cool. It's interesting, and at that time I think it was just 5 guys: violin, trumpet, guitar, bass, something like that. And that's when they had the residency at Hard Rock Cafe, and they're entertaining. You know what I mean?
They're super entertaining. Yeah, yeah. All right, so I want you to play a song, but what do you want to play?
Oh, I mean, what? Let me see. Let me grab the guitar. There's something else that we've done at Dodger Stadium. Like when I was saying earlier, like they hear a couple notes,
Mhm.
and then they go crazy. So there's this one. All right, I'm gonna sing a little bit of it,
Okay.
and I'm not gonna sing the. I'm just gonna do it exactly how we do it there, right?
Okay.
So usually I'll come out, I'll say, "Hey, how where's donde están los gritos mexicanos?" And all the Mexicans are, you start screaming, and then we'll do one of these.
Uh-huh.
Y volver. And I put my hand up, and the stadium goes, volver. Craziest thing. All we do is say those 2 words.
Yeah.
Y volver, and then they go crazy. And then I don't think you guys did it. Good. Dale otra vez. Y volver. 50,000 people. Great. Those are things that, man, there's nothing else we can do about that. You know what I mean? It's one of those feelings that it's happening, and I'm like, wow, 50,000 people. I got 50,000 people to sing along, and even I've seen when we leave the stadium, there's people walking around everywhere all the time. And it's tough to get out of the stadium because we get stopped for so many pictures, which is great. I'm not complaining about that. And people tell me stories. Like there were gentlemen that's like, I don't know what you guys are saying, but I understood that I could mimic the word.
Yeah.
And I sang along with you guys. But I don't know what I was saying. Like, cool. That's all we want, man. That you're having a blast.
But that isn't supposed to happen at a baseball game. Like all of a sudden this mariachi chorus, massive, tens of thousands of people are singing, and literally as best as they can, as loud as they can. Like that just doesn't happen at a ball game. Ever.
Yeah. I mean, what if the organist is playing the song? People kind of like, oh yeah, I like that song, right? But nobody really sings along. I mean, aside from 7-inning stretch, right? Where take me out to the ball game, which was something else that's how we end our night at Dodger Stadium. After take me out to the ball game, then we go find a seat to watch the rest of the game or head home.
Yeah. If the Dodgers wanted to have you play twice as many gigs, not just Taco Tuesday, but Friday nights or whatever, like part of the fireworks show or something, like, is that what you guys want to do? Or do you guys like, this is enough right here? I mean, how do you, as a business, how do you decide when, like, I don't want to be in one spot all the time?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the thing is with I feel if they did push me about that, the dates would be kind of so sporadic, because it's not like as if we were at a theme park 7 days a week,
Mhm.
and there it's because I mean we do Taco Tuesdays. I think we usually it's like 2 Tuesdays in a week, and then we have 2 weeks off, and then 2 Tuesdays and off, and then sometimes it's just one, and then 3 weeks
Yeah.
off. So the schedule is very, very, very sporadic. Um, if they were to do it on Fridays, I mean, I don't see why not.
Right.
Obviously, we'd have to go through the calendar and say, well, it looks like there's a couple dates that we're not going to be able to come through.
Right.
Just like last year, there were a few that we couldn't do, and so they had taken someone else to fill in those dates.
Think about that, man. Like you guys are so successful. You're like, hey, Dodgers, this is awesome, except for these.
Except for these days.
So because in this town you have to say yes, right?
Mhm.
But you have to say no because of the business you've already built outside of the Dodgers influence.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and a lot of times I had to say no just to make sure to protect my business also. I couldn't just
Yeah.
say, yeah, sure. And then send something that wasn't going to be up to par. I
Yeah.
also don't want to burn that bridge with the
Yeah,
Dodgers,
yeah.
And I mean, everything they've done so far. I mean, like you brought up earlier, the LA Times story. Oh my God, I still can't believe that, And then there was something else that happened. It was with Justin Turner's foundation.
Yeah.
We took the little boy and he sang along with us. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
They gave us so much social media hits also.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that really, like the Joe Kelly thing, the Dodger thing, this is like such a big LA Times. As soon as the LA Times discover you, a lot of people discover who you are. It can get picked up nationally. It's like the jacket story did.
Mhm.
And I don't know how many people can say that. Oh, I know 15 mariachi bands. I certainly don't. I know there's a Mariachi Vargas, and then I run out of things I can say. Except for now, I know Mariachi Garibaldi, but there's so much room to grow to
Mhm.
become an international name. Who's besides the Dodgers? Who's the most notable person who's reached out and said, "We want you to back us up or play something"? Have you played at the Hollywood Bowl? Any of these kind of things?
No, we have not been at the Hollywood Bowl yet. Garibaldi at least, but working on it.
Yeah.
I mean, biggest artist we worked with, Pedro Fernandez.
Mhm.
He's a big artist. Paquita del Barrio. We worked Angela Aguilar a couple years ago. She's becoming a huge artist. Aida Cuevas is a huge artist. Ana Barbara. Who am I missing? Oh, I can't believe I'm going to forget about this. Camila Cabello.
Okay.
Right, pop star.
Yeah.
I get a phone call. Hey, you know who Camila Cabello is? Yeah, a good friend of mine that I just recently met. He's like, okay, I'm doing a song for her. She wants it with mariachi.
Oh.
Are you down? Of course we're down, right?
Yeah.
So she released a song on her last album. It's called La Buena Vida.
Yeah.
And some of the guys from the group got hired, and they hired other players too. So we went to record for the album, and then they felt that it's gonna be so good. Last year, 2 years ago, she had a Tiny Desk performance, and so they called me. She wants to do the song, so we need you to fly the whole mariachi out to Miami. When I get the phone call Thursday.
Yeah.
Tuesday, we need you here in Miami. Okay, what time do we leave? I'll get you the info soon. Can you do it? We're there. I told her, guys, we're getting hired for it. We're going to Miami. Here's a song. Let's practice. Let's get prepared because I don't know if we're going to read it or or if we're going to perform it live. I don't know. Right? And the Tiny Desk, like, oh no, we're performing it live. Okay, let's get it 100%.
This is a real thing, though. I mean, I was going to ask because when someone who's notable has studio time booked, they don't know what's going to happen. They're in the moment, and then poof, let's get mariachi. You get that phone call. Again, you have to say yes to these opportunities. Oh, but by the way, you're playing Don Julio's tomorrow night as well, and you've got to figure out how to do that. And that means that you need more than 13 people a lot of the times. How frantic is that for you? Oh, and you have a business here where you're teaching kids how to play music.
Kids, yeah. I hear about garden at the academy. Yeah. I mean, it gets daunting, but a lot of times, the support of my wife, this is coming up. She's like, okay, well, look, I'll help you. I can, help you with this. Or even her, she's a great brainstormer. She's like, well, why don't you try? Yes. And she's like, I can't believe you didn't think of that. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't think of it. But it can get frantic. But at times it's like, that's great. That's kind of what we work for, that, to have that.
Yeah, it's good.
I like to have my plate full.
Uh-huh.
I'm not that everything's flying off, but, I like to have a full plate to know that everything's going decently. But yeah, that one was a fractured one just because I got the phone call Thursday and they told me, well, we plan to have you here by Tuesday, but I'll get back to you by Saturday to confirm. Like, oh my God, and still telling, 10 guys, hey guys, this might happen. Like, well, is it going to happen? I get time off for work, or I need to, tell my teacher I'm not going to be here. I need to I don't know, just, it's going to happen.
Going back to the Dodger thing, it's got to be, especially for your guys who really love the Dodgers. But you have to just pinch yourself and go, I can't believe we're doing this. You know, and like it's easy to become like it's a gig. We're here, we're in, and we're out. Seventh inning, we finally get to sit down and take. But it's different. It's different. I think.
I think it really hit me when the LA Times story was starting to take place. You know, that they called me like, "Hey, we're at LA Times. We want to do this story." Okay, and they went for, I want to say, 3-4 weeks to shoot, to interview,
Yeah.
video interview, and just talk interview. And so after a while, I'm like, after the last interview that I had, and it was just a verbal interview, the gentleman walked away, and I'm like, holy, this is going to be good. You know, like we're really getting on the mariachi. You know, not just it's a mariachi band at the Dodger Stadium. Like, no, Garibaldi. Like, you know what I did, where we came from, and what we're doing. And when it finally released, I mean, I just remember watching the video and just going, wow, it was done so amazingly. Like, you know, I did not expect it to be that great of an article. Because it's about me and my band, but you know, it was just very well written, very well filmed, just a great article across the board.
Yeah, I put the link in the remarks if you guys
Awesome.
on YouTube, and you guys can check out the LA Times story. There's a great video in there with that. And then also don't forget to go to mariachigaribaldi.net to get any kind of anything. And listen, if you want to go experience this, come hang out with me. We'll go find a taco Tuesday night when the guys are playing. And just trust me, like this is a very special thing. Like we have the Mets, their reliever, you know, there's Spanish trumpets or Mexican trumpets playing, and that gets the crowd fired up. And I'm like, that is adorable. You guys are the cutest little thing. Look at what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
You know? And like, I'm not trying to put the Mets down. They're a fantastic team, but there is something about what you guys are doing. And I just, from all of us out here in the world, thank you for doing it, because it really is a time machine, man. Like, I don't know what it was like 100 years ago or 200 years ago, but it takes me there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the culture of my state, of the people that I live with. And I've never had that experience at a ball game where I got put into a time machine and taken to somewhere else, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, for us, the same thing. I never imagined that performing during a game we would get such a great response.
Yeah.
Especially, right, seeing the people is one thing, but when it comes from higher management, they're saying, we love this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, that they told me from day one, after the first, I think it was the second performance we had. Well, it was the first performance, but the second slot we did after third inning, my contact comes up to me. She's like, I just need to tell you, I just got a phone call from upper management. I'm like, she's like, they love this. How are you? And right on the spot, she gave me like 5 other dates. You know, so can you guys do these other dates? Because it was playoffs. I'm like, yeah,
yes,
yes. Let's do it. And she's like, they are loving the response. They see the crowd is loving it, and you guys are killing it. So, you know, let's do this. Great. And then so from there, the next season, all right, we want you here all season. Here are all the dates. Oh man. Yeah. They've actually, they sent an email for this season, but I haven't penciled them in yet. But yeah.
It's crazy. And then you have to realize this, when the upper management's calling you, that means that Magic Johnson is watching you instead of the other way around, where you're like, that's Magic.
Yeah.
You know, Magic Johnson saw you and said, man, we gotta have this, right? I mean, look, and that's just, I'm saying him because a lot of very notable owners who are very, but they haven't been on the world stage playing basketball in the Olympics and the championship, you know. So you have Magic Johnson going, I love it.
That's what the guys tell me. They're like, so Magic like this?
Exactly.
That's what I'm going to believe.
We got like 5 minutes left.
Sure.
Is there anything you want to ask me? Do you want to play something? What do you want to do with these last few minutes?
I mean, well, I guess I can play a little music for you, something. Let's see what I can do.
All right.
There's another little, I'll just do like the intro music of something else we always play.
Okay.
That's great. And then we'll see what else we can talk about after that. But this one, sorry, my mic fell. This one's called El Sinaloense, and this is another one that we played the first few notes, and the people go crazy.
Okay.
And it goes a little something like this. That one right right there, the first couple of and people already saying, man, they're dancing already,
Yeah.
you know. And I mean, like I demonstrated a little bit earlier, that one too, just by saying sing along with us, evil, just saying those 2 syllables,
Mhm.
people go crazy, you know.
Crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
Great stuff, you know. And I feel very, very fortunate to have the opportunity to play for the Dodgers. And also, with another thing that I have liked a lot is that people have brought up their kids and
Mhm.
said, you know, my kids are loving this, blah, blah, blah. And then I kind of pitched them like, well, I have
Yeah.
a school, you know, the academy and Dock
Yeah.
Gardens, blah, blah, you know. And so, because the thing is, as great as a genre of mariachi is, if our youth don't get into it and realize what it is, it can die away. And that's something that I don't want. That's why I really like to make sure I kind of give an imprint to the youth and raise awareness of how fun and how great mariachi is.
Yeah.
You know, and when they get older, they can understand the songs and be like, "Oh yeah, tequila."
Yeah. Here's the link, everybody, for the Academy.
Oh, thank
You
you.
can see that in the comments, and then I'll put it up there on the screen. It's just real simple. So if you're in the LA area, anywhere near Bell Gardens, these guys will teach your kid how to play and how to dance.
And how? Yeah, well, my wife runs the folklorico program, right? Ballet Folklorico de Los Angeles, and her program is really good, really great. We
Yeah.
started from age 2.
Yeah.
And up, and for music we started age 4 all the way up. My oldest student is 65, you know, my youngest is 4.
Yeah. What's the pro grade violin for a mariachi guy like you?
Well,
I mean, that thing has got some miles on it. You can see, like,
yeah. Well, actually, you know, it's this was made in 2009 by a maker, by a maker here in Los Angeles. And it looks like it has some miles on it, but you know, this one cost me a pretty penny, just because when I was doing classical music, so I needed something that speaks a little more. But you know, in mariachi violin, you just gotta find something that feels comfortable with you. You know, again, that falls in the pocket with you.
Yeah.
You know, as long as it's in tune and it has a nice tone, you know, you're good. You don't need to go break the bank with any instrument. Just as long as you can play comfortably with it.
I had Dennis Kim on the show, and he plays first chair in the Pacific Symphony just down the road, and he plays a Stradivarius, but there's a difference, right? Like, he plays at the elite level anything classical, but he's like, don't ask me to solo.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
Wow.
You know, he can't. It's not able to do it at all. Don't ask him to play fiddle parts, because he's like, I don't know how to play. I can play the violin and fiddle, the same thing. However, that's not what I do. You know, I can play these other things, these other amazing works of art. Do you feel like you're in the same kind of a box where it's like, I play violin in a mariachi band. Don't ask me to play, like, show up at a Dave Matthews band and plug in and do that kind of thing?
Yeah, something like that. I don't think I'd be, you know, to go solo with Dave Matthews or whatever. I might just give like some long tones. But I mean, I did, when I started violin, I did classical music for the longest time. I got my performance degree from Cal State Long Beach in violin, and recently I've done some Hollywood work, you know, and it's all classical.
Yeah.
And then they also like, hey, you play mariachi too. We got something for like mariachi style. All right, so I get hired for that also. But for me to like to try to jump in on like a bluegrass or you know, even a jazz, like I would probably attempt it, but I'm not going to be like, don't call me to be that guy that you need to have happen, you know. And in talking about a Stradivarius, when I was studying at Cal State Long Beach, my teacher Chen Ho Yoon, I showed up to his house for a lesson, and he's like, I have a violin, do you want to try it out? It's a $750,000 violin. And as I'm going to pick it up, I'm like, how much?
Yeah.
750,000. No, I don't want to touch it. And he's like, no, I want you to try it, because so you can see, even though it's that expensive and that amazing, you have to be a very skilled player to make that violin speak. I'm like, no, I don't want to touch it. Like, I'm afraid I'm going to drop it.
Yeah.
And he goes to pick up the case, and it opens up and it flies out.
What?
And he catches it midair. And I go, Doctor, you can put that away. No, I'm good. And he's like, and he was just trying to explain, like, you know what, there's some Stradivarius that are very amazing instruments, but if you're not an amazing player, you can't make it's not going to make you sound good, you know. So with the Pacific Symphony person, you know, him admitting, don't ask me to solo, it's, you know, it's, we as performers and violinists or whatnot, you need to be able to accept all that. You know, it's like trying to say, hey, bring you know, the catcher into pitch right now. I'm like, he'll throw it, but is he really going to do a good job? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate you being on the show, man. It's has been
great
such
being
a treat.
here.
I've had a big smile on my face the whole time. Everybody, definitely go check out these guys wherever you can. If you can get to a Dodger game, definitely do that. Mariachi Garibaldi here. Let me put the link up here so you guys can see it. And just in general, and I appreciate you coming on. Everybody should get their kids down here and get some of this music into your lives.
Yeah, just check it out at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let me run the credits here. Hold on one sec.
Hey, thanks for watching the show. I really appreciate it. Right here, you can subscribe. Please do that. It makes the show grow. Hit that notification bell so you know which incredible guest is coming up next. Down below is the PayPal link. You can put a small subscription in. That is an enormous help. All that money goes right back into the show. And then right up over here are the next episodes you should listen to, curated by yours truly.